of the morning to you, and welcome to another exciting round of Beer Thursday. Well, Shane, I think the elephant is in the room.
Oh, that's what that smell was.
I would like to share a little bit of with our dear Beer Thursday listeners a little bit about my wife and I, our Irish adventure from a year or so ago.
It's about time.
It's
about bloody time.
It's about, well, that's not really Irish.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry. Neither.
You could say it's about feckin' time.
Okay. Yeah. You could say that.
It's about feckin' time.
More accurate.
They have an expression in Ireland when you're talking to somebody and you're like, well, you're stupid. Or well, that's stupid. But it's like not necessarily saying that they're idiots. And the word for that they use is it's gobshite. So you see, yeah, I see a lot around there. I was seeing a lot of things that said feckin' gobshite. Funny. So
it sounds dirtier than it is.
It does. It does. So I was. Oh, please go ahead.
You went to Ireland.
Yeah. So that was cool. You ready for the toast?
You went in March.
I did.
And you were there for St. Patrick's Day.
I was. We were there for St. Patrick's Day. That was a bad thing.
So what did you do on your first day? In jolly old Ireland?
In jolly old Ireland, our first day there, we had a connecting flight in Chicago to Aer Lingus.
Nice.
And I thought that was a cunning name for an airlines. We flew Aer Lingus into Ireland, and we arrived in Ireland around 9 o'clock in the morning, leaving up here around 5 the day before, 5 p.m. So we chose to stay up. Instead of taking a nap or anything, we decided just to stay up until bedtime that night. So, and we ended up going to a bar and not going to bed until around, 10:30 or 11. So we were up for quite some time.
Yes. Yeah.
But we immediately got off the plane and met our good friend and friend of the show, Brian Bilta, and his lovely wife, Sarah.
Good eye, Brian and Sarah.
That's Australian, but you're getting closer.
Oh.
And they had rented a car, and Brian was kind enough to do the driving. So we were off for our Irish adventure, and we immediately headed down to Kilkenny, I think it was.
Kilkenny.
Yeah, and I was thinking, oh my God, Kilkenny. And we went there, and then we went to Waterford, home of Waterford Crystal. And it was pretty cool. Then we stayed the first night, we stayed in a little town in Cork County, Cork. And it was a seaside town, and it was called Cough. There's a B in there. There's a COBH or something like that. And it was so cool. It was a neat little town, and it had this really gothic looking church that was on the hill. And turns out this little town was the last stop of the Titanic before it made its fateful trip across the ocean.
Oh, very cool.
Iceberg, yes. So, yeah. So they had a little museum, and we went to there, and it was really cool. It was a really cool little town. And the weather in Ireland they joke that you can have all 4 seasons in one day. And it does kind of feel that way. It could get really cold, and then it's rainy. It rained most of the time, but it's usually kind of a light, misty rain.
Yeah.
But it was great.
To me.
It was glorious. And so, yeah, we basically traveled down from Dublin. We traveled down south along the coast and back up to, we were in Galway, and then traveled across from Galway back to Dublin. Ended up back in Dublin over the course of the week. And it was amazing. And we met so many great people. And for whatever reason, every bar we went to, I made a friend, or a friend made me, something like that.
It seems like that would be one of the great things about Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the people are very friendly and they love Americans for some reason. But we went to one bar and this guy was like, we started talking politics, which is not usually a good thing to talk about, but you know, they're not big fans of certain politicians in America.
Yeah. Okay.
So there was a lot of talk about that. And I asked one of them, I was like, so what do you think about the state of our country right now in the US? I was like, be honest. He said, you guys are kind of fucked up right now. I was like, okay, well, we feel the same way. So
that's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, we met this guy. Oh, is it almost time for a toast, Shay?
It is time for a toast, Shay.
Well, I think we should have a toast. And Shane, I prepared a toast just for this occasion.
Oh, did you?
No, but I made one. I made one up.
You had it written for
similar
occasions.
Yeah, Brian and I came up with a toast whilst we were in Ireland, and because we drank a lot of Guinness, and
I won't hold that against you. Never mind. I forced it.
On a side note, the Guinness really does taste better there. It's creamy, no aftertaste, and every Irish person every time I mentioned that to someone like a bartender or whatever, or somebody I'm talking to, I was like, the Guinness tastes really better here. And every single one of them said the same thing. Oh, Guinness doesn't travel? It's something, when it travels, it just doesn't have the same taste. Something about the water, I don't know. But anyway, so we're drinking a lot of dark beer stouts and stuff. So here's the toast we came up. Raise your glass, sir. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Every meal, have a stout. Cheers.
Cheers. Nice. That was pretty easy to do then. Or it happened a lot. Just hanging out in a bar, and then at the bar, not at a table in the bar, but at the bar, and then starting up conversations with total strange Irish peoples. And
usually they'd be the ones to start the conversation. We were sitting in a bar, and there was a gentleman there named, I think his name was Mr. O'Neill. And he saw me and Brian. He said, "Oh, you guys are from America?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So immediately, he says, "Mind if I sit with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure." So he proceeded to talk to us. And meanwhile, our wives were out shopping, and they came in and they sat up at the bar and they were talking to the bartender. And she was telling them that the guy that we're talking to, about 90% of the things that come out of his mouth are lies. Which
still,
I didn't care because he was very entertaining. I mean, like he told us at one point that his son was a truck driver, and his son, he lost his son. His son had passed away. And I was like, I'm very sorry to hear that. And then later he said that all of his sons were doctors. So apparently this family grew, and one of his sons came back from the dead and became a doctor or something. I don't know. And then he worked in, I guess, England, and he was making all his money there, and he saved for retirement. He was a career waiter. And so he collected a pension, and he was collecting money from the English government. So he goes, let me buy you a pint. The Queen's paying for it. And so
awesome.
When he did that, so I held up my glass and I said, "God save the Queen."
That's brilliant.
But so we were talking to this guy at the bar, and then there's another guy. There's a guy, like a normal patron that's there all the time. He was a regular, and he looks at the bartender. Her name, Neve, this is her name, and said, "I see he got himself a couple of Yanks." Someone new to talk to and lie.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it was so much fun. It met a lot of great people. Met what I could only describe as he looked like the guy from the Nazi guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark with the glasses that burned his hand on and he was I met him at a hotel bar, and because we were trying to find a place to drink, and it was in Dublin, and it was during on a Saturday, and there was this big rugby match between Ireland and Scotland, and it was basically for the championship. And as we were told, Ireland is really shite at soccer, so rugby's their thing. And so this guy's talking to us at the bar, and I'm drinking my Guinness, and he's a close talker, and his breath was foul.
Oh no!
So I had my nose in the Guinness, sniffing it the entire time I'm talking to him.
Oh my goodness!
And he starts talking about how much he loves America. He goes, "You guys are brilliant," and blah blah blah. And then he's talking about. Then he goes in. Then he starts getting racist, and I'm like, let's talk about the Muslims and Jewish people. And I swear, I think the next words that were about to come out of his mouth before I ended the conversation was, Hitler has a few good ideas. I was sure he's going to say that.
Oh boy.
I'm like, that was surprising. That was interesting. And the bartender was American. He's like, yeah, he comes here all the time. We have to tell him to shut up every once in a while.
Sports opinions everywhere.
Sports opinions everywhere.
Not just in America.
But we became big, fast rugby fans there that day. We didn't get to watch Ireland won, by the way. They were the champions. But we got to watch the match after that, which was England versus France. And they are not big fans of England there. So everybody at the bar, in fact, this nice Irish lady sat at a table close to us, and she said, "We're rooting for France." And I'm like, oh, okay. And there's a couple of French guys in there. So the whole bar at one point was going, "Vive la France."
That's cool.
Yeah. And France won. It was a really close game. And now I'm an expert on rugby. Well, at least I was at the time. Now I have no idea what was going on.
You need to drink a little more, I think.
Yeah. But one thing I did find very interesting there is they don't tip. You don't have to tip. They don't expect a tip. There's certain situations where it's okay to tip. But you go to a bar and you order, food and beverage, and your tab's your tab. There's no tip. So I got used to that.
Yeah.
Kind of nice.
Maybe tipping is an American thing. And we mentioned tipping recently on another recent round, and decided we're going to have a full round on tipping at some point.
Well, I think, they pay their people well enough to where they don't have to live on tips. And I think that's kind of cool. But, so yeah, the whole trip was, we went to the cliffs of Moher, which were amazing. And earlier this week, I was watching this show called Conan O'Brien Must Go. And it's on Max. And it's a travel show that he just came out with. And one of the shows he was there he was in Ireland. And so I don't know when he was in Ireland, but I'm wondering if he was in Ireland anywhere near around the time we were there. But he was in Galway, and he was they do a soap opera, like a Irish soap opera. They film it in Galway, but it's in Irish. So they're speaking in the Irish tongue, which all the road signs there are both in English and in Irish. Yeah. And they're trying to kind of bring that language back. I think it's Gaelic or something like that, but they call it Irish. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool that they're trying to bring it back.
Yeah. And they're also trying to bring sexy back, but
good luck with that.
Sorry. But yeah, it was an amazing trip. I honestly didn't want to come home. I want to go back. I also want to go to Scotland, but you being someone who has traveled quite extensively, having been able to leave the country and travel to Spain and things like that, probably can understand the fact that I feel like I got bitten by the "where can I go now" bug.
Yeah, I kind of thought that would happen because you're that open-minded, curious type
Yeah.
who also likes to meet people and listen to them talk, and not
Yeah.
just.
I like to
Seems
go
like-
I like to go where the locals go, eat what the locals eat, unless it's haggis, but that's in Scotland, so it's okay. But I like to experience the local scene. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, we went to a bar on the way back to Dublin called Sean's Bar, which was founded in somewhere around 950 AD. They said it's the oldest bar in Ireland. And then someone said it's the oldest bar in Europe. And I went and looked up. It's actually the oldest bar in the world.
Wow. That's
It's
very cool.
Yeah, that's still active. And it was really cool. So we went there, and anyway, wanted to bring that up because it was cool. But yeah, overall, the whole trip, the one thing I was worried the most about is the flying, and it wasn't too bad. It was good. But yeah, shit. Ireland's cool, man.
So would you rather go for a next trip overseas? Would you rather go back to Ireland, or is there somewhere else you'd want to visit instead?
Well, I think I probably need to go somewhere else, but we really do both really want to go to Scotland. So if we went to Scotland, we could always take a couple of days and go back to Ireland, because it's just a hop, skip, and a jump, and a puddle jumper across, or you can even take a ferry across to Ireland.
Have to start watching for cheap airfare.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to go to Scotland. I'd love to go to Spain. I've never been to Spain.
Huh?
But I really like to go there. And then I'd love to go to
kinda like the music.
But I'd love to go to Germany, I'd love to go to hell. Now it's like we go to Seattle. We try to go every other year. Haven't been able to the last year, but we go to visit family in Seattle a lot, and they're really close to Vancouver, right? That's up north. I think that's but yeah, they're close to Canada, but we've never been able to go because no passports, but now we can. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm excited about. We have friends in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, that we can now go see.
Very cool.
That's cool. So yeah, it's a whole new world. Although right now we can't afford to go anywhere.
Yeah, remember the last
Alamo?
week?
Yeah.
Or the Alamo. We talk about things we used to do, but now they're too expensive.
Yeah.
Travel is one of those things. It's very expensive.
Yeah. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. And I will say that I feel like when I was first looking into Ireland a few years ago, you could get some really good deals, and pay around like total of a couple $1,000s, including airfare and like 5-night stay, and now you're lucky if you can get airfare for two for a couple thousand.
Oh, yeah. It's insane.
It's insane. Yeah. But gosh, it was sure worth it. And I do want to go back there. I'm trying to figure out. I know my company does have a branch in Dublin. So,
put in for a transfer.
I could put in for a transfer. Yeah. They say you can be a citizen as long as you have something to contribute. I think I could contribute my natural handsomeness and witty repartee. But
you should put that on your application.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, sir, I really enjoyed Ireland, and it was fantastic. And it was a hopefully not once in a lifetime trip, but it was certainly. I'm always going to remember it until I don't remember it anymore, which I hope that doesn't ever happen.
Do you remember Ireland, Jay?
Where?
Exactly.
Well, I do believe that I boarded the plane and steered it towards the Emerald Isle. So I do believe it's time for you to take it from there.
Well, dear friend, we hope that you have enjoyed Jay's Tales of the Emerald Isle. We hope that you'll join us next time we're in Ireland. Sometime. I've never been. But we hope that sometime you can go with us to Ireland.
Absolutely.
Together. Maybe not in the same room. Maybe definitely in the same town. Maybe the same block or hotel. Separate rooms. If you insist, okay, then we will. But until that time, go ahead and subscribe so that you can hear our weekly conversations about whatever pops up into our heads. The best way to do that is to subscribe so that on Thursdays, as if by magic, your phone receives from the podcast universe. Universe? What's a universe? From the podcast universe, that bright and shining next round of Beer Thursday theme song.
You fucking gobshite. Not them, you.
Oh.
Sorry. It's a term of endearment. Which was a sad movie, by the way.